So Andrew Steeves, 29, position is left back or left wing back, and job is I'm a position development coach analyst with Dundee United, but I'm basically a football coach there full time.
So sort of tell us your journey to playing for Montrose then.
Journey to Montrose. So actually signed for St Johnstone's like at the youngest age group possible. I played for a boys club called Gannicky before that, and then under 12 at the time is when you could sign for an academy. So I signed at under 12 there. Right the way through until under 20, and then 1 year after that when I came on, then I wasn't a first team player at St Johnstone. I was kind of just in and around it, never really played or anything like that, and then Forfar, and then Montrose on loan season 14-15, and then signed permanently in 15-16, and now obviously that's us right the way through to 24-25. So
take us through that sort of journey of Montrose, because
it was a different club now that when I signed, like incredibly so. Like the whole feel of the place, it's a lot of the same people, but I do think that we've all kind of like been on this big sort of change and journey together kind of thing, from going from training 2 nights or 2 days, like whatever it may be, at Links Park, to then having gym before every session, training at Dundee at the RPC, including stuff like analysis, different staff. Chris and Stu started with the physical stuff, and then Chris has come in and GPS data and all that kind of stuff. So from where we were to where we are now is a massively different club. But I mean, there's Terry, Paul, Webby, Terry, Webby, Paul, Yano came in shortly afterwards. Ross Campbell was a player, and obviously now he's assistant manager when I signed. So there's a group of 6 or 7 of us that have been on that whole change, along with the chairman, along with Pete Stewart. So there's probably a group of close to a dozen of us that were there in the dark times with the Broda playoff game and all the way through to where we are winning league and then challenging at the top end of League One. So different club, completely different club.
And for those who are sort of actually looking on the outside, looking in, we see all this turbulence that goes on with managers in and out, players in and out. This club seems to buck the alleged trend.
And I was, funnily enough, I don't know why this went through my head the other day, but it is so strange because I've never, so even when I was at St Johnstone, I had Derek McInnes for a year and a half, Steve Lomas for a year, and then Tommy Wright for the rest of the time. So, and then I had Dick Campbell, the full time was at Forfar, Heggie, and then SP for all this time. So, and I'm looking at other players around the leagues that have either stayed at one club and had like 10 different managers in 10 years, or players that bounce around different clubs and are always going into a different management team. So it is very odd that you've kind of I've now going on. So Gaffer came in 16-17, so I don't think you'll have found a group of players that have been together at a club with a manager at a club for this long, and it is properly reassuring that you're not having to like constantly impress every 2 years with a new manager coming in and all that kind of stuff. So definitely bucking the trend. If you look at like that thing that Pie and Bovril I think put out, where it's like managers, days in term and all that kind of stuff, and you're seeing people down the bottom on like 5 days, 25 days, 100 days. The Gaffer's obviously been here for 8 years now, so it's a totally different environment to what pretty much what's going on around Scotland at the minute.
So when you put that into context for this season, how did it start and how's it going?
I do think that the fact that the manager has been here so long, I do like we often refer back to a Hamilton game where we went there and we got beat 1-0, but we had such a poor start to the season that it was a nervousness going to Hamilton. We thought we were going to get battered. We end up just getting beat 1-0, and then we obviously had a couple players out, a couple players came in. With that change in dynamic, I mean, none of the boys that went out were bad boys, but what they have done is like it's maybe allowed Kane to play as the number 9 by himself. The fact that Rory moved on, we got Miller Thompson in, who was just what a player he was for the 4 months that he was here. He was tremendous, and Luke Graham coming in as well has really boosted the group in terms of what he's been able to. Like, he's playing at a very, very high level at the minute. So to be sitting in 4th, a point behind 3rd, with a chance to go 3rd on Saturday, compared to where we were the first quarter of the season, is a totally different place. And if you've just brought a manager at the start of the year and he starts that poorly, there's a chance that he's not even here at the minute. Do you know what I mean? Whereas because we know what the manager's achieved and accomplished, I don't think that was ever going to change. So that's probably a massive benefit of the fact that this is his 8th year. We never panicked. We knew what was going to happen. faith that he was going to be good in the loan market, faith that he was going to make players better. So yeah, it really has helped the fact that we didn't start the year so well to where we are now.
And we've noticed that just with obviously the win just happened this Saturday past, every time that this team has had a loss this season in League One, it's only lost once after that. So you've only had like 1-2 game losing streak.
Yeah.
Again, does that goes back to the whole, like you say, trust the the process and have faith.
Well, I mean, it's probably our biggest reason why that's happened is the fact that there's continuity, like there's a togetherness. Like even on Saturday past there, everyone was under no illusions how poor we were in the first half. We were in the game, we had chances, we obviously had that ridiculous, like we should have been 1-1 and a man sent off, but it's not happened. But if that's a new group with young boys that don't have an experienced manager, that aren't have that togetherness and like that group feel about them, you probably end up losing that 2 or 3-0. But because we're so familiar with each other, the manager's familiar with the group, and he knows how far he can push us in that half-time team talk and in the second half and the changes that he made, like it's an obvious reason as to why that second half performance kind of happened. And even after the first 2 minutes of the second half, I kind of felt like, oh, we have them, we've got them. Do you know what I mean? We feel on the front foot here, and it was just a matter of time. And I mean, obviously, Webby and Midge are 2 big players for us that obviously step up at big moments. So, yeah, I'm not saying it was never in doubt, but what I'm saying is we always had that belief. And for some reason, our away form this year has been fantastic. It's completely outshone our home form. So, for some reason, away from home, 1-0 down at half time wasn't a massive issue to us.
In terms of just your season, both on the pitch and off the pitch, it's certainly one you're not going to forget.
No. So, off the pitch, first, obviously, September, I just had my first kid, Andy, so Andie. So, I mean, fantastic that she's been named after me. So, that's been, I mean, the biggest blessing in my life. It's the best thing in my life, obviously, with my wife, and we're so happy with that. I mean, it brought a spell of like sleepless nights, which then led to like, oh my God, how am I going to wake up on a Saturday and perform and all that kind of stuff. But thankfully, it only took 1 or 2 weeks to kind of get back in the swing of it, and my wife was very supportive of that and helped me kind of get through maybe Friday nights or whatever, and then I just maybe sacrifice another night or whatever it may be. So yeah, that's been the most amazing thing that's happened to us. I'm not going to say it's been easy, but it's certainly been an amazing experience. But first half of the year, I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying I've never had injuries, but I've kind of been known as like I'm always available to play, and I've played most weeks ever since I've been here. But I missed 9 weeks in the first 6 months of the season due through 3 separate injuries, 3-week injuries, which is very odd for me to have, kind of thing. So I'm just really happy that when I came back from the last one, it's kind of just everything settled down. The home life has settled down because she's now sleeping a little bit, but she's not sleeping perfectly, don't get me wrong. She absolutely hates that bassinet, but she's kind of settled a little bit better into her sleep, and really probably since the returning to the Cove game, the 1-1 game, I think I've kind of hit the ground running again. Obviously there's things that I can do better, I know that, but definitely from the return just before Christmas to where we are now, I'm kind of pretty happy with how things are going. But yeah, I think the biggest thing that's happened to my life, and probably will happen to my life ever, is becoming a dad. Yeah, and it is fantastic.
But it puts everything into sort of perspective as well, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, so like I still do, I get like criminally nervous before games, especially like, and I don't know why, but see when you go to like a big name team, like you go to a Falkirk, a Hamilton, a Queen of the South, like you always get nervous, like, oh right, okay, they've got to be on it today kind of thing, what happens if they score early? But now I'm kind of a bit more relaxed and chilled about the whole thing. It's like, you know what I mean, I'm probably going to get home and to a wife that's had a bairn all day that's kind of not settling her bassinet, so I'm more worried about trying to get her back down to sleep than I am actually about the game. So that's kind of calmed me down and relaxed me quite a lot, so I can really look forward to the game tonight.
Some ways Andy's already an influence on you.
Massively. Influence and everything. I mean, the house is completely set up and upside down for her sake. Do you know what I mean? There's the bedtime is now got, as soon as 6:30 hits, you're winding down for bath time. You're now putting her to bed at 7:30. You're hoping that she doesn't wake up before midnight. Then you feed her and then you get her back down again. So I'm going to be honest, my wife does quite a lot of that heavy lifting with me being out Tuesday, Thursday nights, but I try and I help out as much as I possibly can. And now that we're getting through the night reasonably well, I'm delighted, because see when you're right, she's down at a certain time, and then half an hour later she's up, and then you put her back down dead asleep in the bassinet, and then she wakes back up as soon as you put her down. So having an influence is probably an understatement on actually the impact she's had on my life.
And before she came into your life and basically is influencing everything, who were your main influences to get you to this point?
Personally, it would be my dad, my mum. In terms of football, my dad. I mean, I think I'm only 2 or 3 away from 350 now from Montrose, so I don't think you would see. I think he's probably been to 340 of them. He won't have missed very many. So, first person I look to kind of after a game is my dad. He doesn't do the Annan away trip anymore. Yeah, he doesn't enjoy that one. But from there, and then on the pitch is probably St Johnstone, Callum Davidson and Alistair Stevenson were a massive influence on my life. Alistair was my head of youth. He was head of youth at Hibs and brought through the Caldwells, Fletcher, Witherspoon, Riordan, all that kind of group. So he came to St Johnstone, was a big influence, and Callum Davidson was like coming to the end of his career but was a left back, and he kind of took me under his wing when I was an apprentice and then became the assistant manager. And then, to be honest, the biggest impact on my life is probably my wife. She kind of rules the roost, that's harsh. She doesn't. She keeps me right. It's probably a better way of saying that. She's very switched on and very intelligent. So probably those 4 people would be biggest impact.
She's the coach when you're home.
Aye. I mean, I do as much. Honestly, I swear, I think I'm doing as much as I possibly can. Like, and I'm not saying that in a bad way, but then all of a sudden, like, I've walked past something on the table that should have been picked up, or I've not done this, or I've not done that, or have you paid this bill, have you got this and that done, and I'm just like, my brain's not even moving in that direction. I hadn't even thought about that, but she keeps me right, and she's you're
too busy thinking about 4-4 series position coaching.
Honestly, she'll do my nutting, because half the reason she'll be thinking you've not done this, you've not done that is there is, like, with football now, there is a game on Monday through Friday, and then there's obviously games Saturday and Sunday. So if I can get the big TV downstairs before she can, there's a high chance that game's been done. So
because that's what I was going to say. That's what I was going to segue in terms of interest. Yeah. Like, I'm sure you've seen some of the chats.
I've watched all of them.
You've watched all of them, yeah. And there's a recurring theme going on that you live, breathe, obviously in between your responsibilities. Football. Yeah. So I mean, I do get the boring shout quite a lot, because the conversation usually steers back to football, but I'd like to say that it's a bit harsh, but even in my wedding speech I did say, like, when I stood up, I thought a few people will be nervous that I'm just going to start talking football here, but interests are love walking my dog. Obviously, I actually really do enjoy movies. I love movies. The easy answer would say I love, like, Marvel movies, but, like, I actually quite enjoy big epic movies. Like Oppenheimer is one that I'd really enjoy. But again, going back to my wife, the problem is she probably won't sit for 3 hours and watch that, so I kind of have to maybe get that my own time. One of my goals in life is to get her to watch all 3 Lord of the Rings and all the Star Wars, but I don't think I'll ever achieve that. She will not sit down for that period of time. So movies is probably, outside of this, my biggest interest. Well, she's going to see this, so she'll know the challenge that's ahead.
Yeah, if this is 7 minutes long, she won't sit through that. Like, she's short, sharp, Love Island, bits of interest, and then kind of move on. To the
I was away to say this might be a 2-3 part then for her. So
I know. If it's long enough, and she probably hears me speak too much in the house anyway, her social battery will switch off. She'll be like, "No, I've done 1 minute." And
no, she'll check this to make sure that you've kept yourself right and not landing yourself in it.
For sure.
So in terms of, obviously, when you're walking your dog and just interest and you're trying to chill out, who's on your music playlist?
Probably got one of the stranger playlists. It kind of goes through in waves. Like, something comes into your head and you really, really enjoy it. Funnily enough, at the minute, and I might get slaughtered for this one, but I'm really enjoying Eric Clapton at the minute. He's probably gone on quite a lot on my playlist. But outside of that, Oasis, Ocean Colour Scene is probably quite high up on the playlist as well. That's probably going through my rotation at the moment.
You've also just mentioned movies. TV series, does anything stand out?
TV series, my favourite TV series of all time would probably be... Suits would be right up there. Really enjoyed Suits. There's an odd one my brother got me into. It's an adult cartoon called Archer, which I find hilarious. I absolutely love that one. So they're probably my two favourites.
Holidays, places, where have you been that stands out? Where would you like to go?
So every year, so my in-laws are all from Florida, so we go to America quite a lot. Every summer we pretty much try and head out there. My favourite holiday that I've ever been on was probably we went to a very small fishing village for our honeymoon, Kutalafari, over in Crete. So that would probably be the number one holiday that I've been on. Really enjoyed that.
Back to home, you obviously know your teammates reasonably well.
Mm-hmm.
None of you were playing football. You were just playing. You were just a bunch of mates in the pub.
Yeah.
Who are we talking about their time as a comedian?
I think Craig Brown has unbelievably comedic timing. I think he is hilarious. He would probably be waxing lyrical about. He would actually enjoy the conversation about telling us all about how good a comedian he was and all that kind of stuff. But he is hilarious. But for me, the funniest one is, I think, Terry Masson. He doesn't say overly too much. He doesn't sort of engage in too much conversations. But if somebody kind of puts their head above the parapet and kind of gets a wee bit cheeky, his one-liners are unbelievable.
DJ.
It was Bruni, but he has probably come under a bit of criticism in recent weeks for what he's been playing, because he's tried to mix it up and come away from the usual stuff. So for me, I would go, at the good old days, Graham Webster. He was in charge.
Might be a movement here, getting back on the shins.
Honestly, I mean, Bruni's done so well for a number of years now, but probably not led by me. I don't really mind it too much, but there's been probably Paul Watson's driving this. He's trying to get the DJ changed, so I don't know. There might be a little bit of a coup coming from the club captain there.
There's a little gossip coming out of there. Yeah. Changing tune, entrepreneurs got the big idea.
Everyone will say Paul Watson, and I'll say that as well. Like he is his business mindset is really strong. He obviously owns his company Projecto, and I mean, money doesn't sleep for Paul. Like, he takes his laptop on most away trips, and he's sizing things up and pricing tiles up and all that kind of stuff. And travelling with him in a car school is great car school companion. But we were picking him up at his house the other day because he was getting tiles delivered for a job. But then all of a sudden his car drives past us as we were going one way, so you can kind of see like his business mindset never switches off. So he'd be the entrepreneur.
TV movie star, who's got the look? Who would cut it?
Actually, going back to one of his interviews, Blair Lyons will be the answer, but the fact that he named himself, I'm going to not say him. The look would probably be either, I'm going to go Bruni or Kerr Waddle, but Kerr can't speak properly, so I'll probably go Bruni.
We'll find out when his chat comes out if he can nail it.
Yeah.
Wise guy, who would you either go to for life advice, or who would you recommend someone going to?
I would say, just off of my past, I would always go to Paul Watson, Sean Dillon, but those would be probably the two guys that I'd send people to life advice for. Outside of that, I've known Webby for a long time, and the boys won't like this answer, but Ross Campbell is an intelligent guy with good life advice, so he'd probably be up there as well. So Sean and Winker for the sending people to, and then any of those five would be. Just to say there, that's gone like a bit.
That's fine.
That's fine.
Yes, yeah, because this is working. So, if other than you, who do you see as a future coach manager?
I really like Terry's opinion on the game. Terry Masson's opinion on the game, I think, is really strong. I know he's actually starting his coaching badges now as well. So, and Winker's going through that as well. I think the two of them would be good. I do think that there is possibly a universe somewhere down the line that has Terry and Winker as the managers of Montrose. I mean, obviously the stupid amount of years of service, it would be great, but yeah, those two probably.
And then last of all, what would you like to say to the supporters?
Just first of all, just a huge thank you for all the support. I mean, it's been as good as it always has been. And obviously we've had a down and then up again season this year. We're really excited where we are with the last 10 games to go, so just continued support would be greatly appreciated.